Standing on your two knees, baby, tell me what do you need? Stand up on your 2 feet, baby, that's how it's got to be. Standing on your 2 knees, baby, tell me what do you need?
Good evening and welcome to the Muslim Street. You're listening live from WTAN 1340 in Clearwater, Florida with my co-host Malik, Aziz, and myself, Laila, Abdelaziz. Happy New Year and welcome to the Muslim Street. How are you, Malik?
Alhamdulillah, everything's good. How are you, Laila?
Alhamdulillah, really happy and excited. It's a new year, fresh start. I guess every day could be considered a fresh start, but really excited about the things ahead of us in 2012 on the calendar, and really excited about our show today.
Yeah, the feeling I get as we move into the next calendar year is that the tide is turning on the Muslim Street. There's a lot of organizing going around hot issues. Muslims are being unapologetically Muslim, and this is a good thing.
Definitely. We have a really great show ahead for you. We'll be wrapping up some of what we thought at the Muslim Street to be the main highlights of the hottest issues and topics relating to the Muslim world here in America and around and abroad. We're going to be talking about the Arab Spring. After that, we're going to talk about a couple of other very interesting topics that kind of had the attention encompassing the Muslim American community. Following the Arab Spring, we're going to discuss indefinite detention, some very important updates on that from yesterday, actually, very timely updates. After that, we'll be discussing growing Islamophobia here in the United States, followed by Muslim profiling and the localized community surveillance that we saw kind of publicly emerge in 2011. And we are going to wrap it up with Muslim civic identity here in the United States, which I think is a very interesting subject.
Yeah, I got some good stuff in that segment. Looking forward to it.
For sure. And we also hope that you stay tuned until the end of the show. We will be announcing the Muslim Street Person of the Year, a very great and inspiring community member here in the Muslim American community in the United States. And we will also be announcing our Organization of the Year, which I thought was a great idea that we had come up with to honor and award a Muslim organization every year for the work that they do around the community.
Yeah, it's very important that we look to. There's so much Muslim organizing going on, and some great prospects that we took a look at. And as we considered the organization that will walk away with that award, there's Muslim organizations that are political. There's some who are charitable. Just across the board, Muslims are doing good things all over this country.
Definitely, and it's something that it's a topic that we've continued to bring up on the Muslim Street talk show, and I'm really excited to announce both the Person of the Year and the Organization of the Year. To wrap it up, that was Hindi Zahra. I forgot to announce who the beautiful voice was, but that was Hindi Zahra. She is a Franco-Moroccan singer. She's a up-and-coming Berber music, soul, pop, jazz, folk artist coming out from Europe.
Now, is she in Morocco now, or is she?
She actually is back and forth. She's back and forth heavily. I know that she was born in Morocco and raised kind of in between Paris and Morocco, and so she has this very Franco-esque / Moroccan-esque / Arab and European feel and vibe, and she's very soulful.
Nice sound. And Morocco, and I've traveled to Morocco extensively.
You are a Moroccophile.
Yeah, and the Moroccans have some huge music festivals there. They also have some of their own homegrown kind of music that they deal with there. So it's kind of good to hear that.
Yeah, you're very well traveled in Morocco.
Moroccans are good people.
Definitely. Speaking of Morocco, we're going to start the show talking about the Arab Spring, which has been, the subject of headlines around the world since early this year. And the Arab Spring has brought a major dynamic shift to the Arab world, the Muslim world, used, I guess, in moderation here. But there's a lot going on. There's a lot to happen. And Malik, what will we be seeing in 2012?
Well, I think that we'll see more of a solidifying and more maturing of some of the movements, and particularly in Egypt. We'll see a lot more organization around the goals and objectives of the revolution that took place in Tunisia. One of the things I want to talk about is it had to be maybe about a year ago. I'm talking to, having lunch with a couple of Tunisian nationals down here in Florida. And they were complaining about the oppression historically that was delivered on their people 25 years more under Ben Ali. And they were just going on and on and on about the oppression of the Muslims who wanted to practice their religion. And I found this to be just abhorring. You know, it's like, this is incredible. So the question I raised to them, I said, you take a guy like Ben Ali, and I said this over a year ago. I said it'd take about 5 to 7 of you to band together, organize, and overthrow his government. They was like, no, we can't do that. And I was like, you don't understand, Malik. We can't get to him. Yeah, anybody can be gotten to, as we saw that Ben Ali left fleeing Tunisia when the movement on the street took wave, and that was the end of his oppression of not only the men in the Tunisian country, but also the women. There were things like laws against women wearing hijab, and he changed. I think they told me even one Ramadan where he put out a fatwa and said, this year we're not going to fast Ramadan because we're getting low production out of the farmers and the workers. It's like, can you imagine that?
Again, Malik is talking about Tunis and the revolution. The Arab Spring is credited to have started in Tunis with
Yes.
the self-immolation of Mohammed Bouazizi in Tunis. He was a street vendor who was fed up by how he was treated by law enforcement and the skyrocketing food prices and the low employment rate, and it was just a bundle of civic problems, of political problems, of socioeconomic problems that kind of escalated the tension in Tunis and gave way to what we're seeing now happening in the
So
East.
I like what happened in Tunis. I thought that it was homegrown, it was organic. We saw that too in Egypt. I had some concerns, some deep concerns and reservations about the issues that took place in Libya. I felt that the money and the military, the militarism that was coming in from the Obama administration, of course, he not even getting the right to go in there from Congress, spending over $2 billion of the taxpayers' money here to overthrow the government of Libya and led to the assassination of Muammar Gaddafi. I do not think that was a homegrown issue that was tied to the revolutions that were going on throughout the region. I happened to be twice during the course of last year in the Maghreb. Right next door to Tunis and right next door to Libya later that year when those things were going down. So it was interesting to get the feel of the street, the ordinary people in the Maghreb, and to see what they were talking about. Just invaluable information. Information that you will not get on CNN or Al Jazeera. The conversations that go on in the homes and in the cafes, as they talked about the growing revolution across the Maghreb and their perception of what was going on in Egypt. One of the things I did there's a true connection of Muslims no matter where we are in the world. They were concerned about the Muslims in Egypt as far west as the Maghreb. They were also concerned about the Muslims in the United States. They are very clued in to our issues here. They're able to
That's very
elaborate on those issues. So some interesting things are going down there.
Definitely. I think, being raised here in America, I was raised with the American perspective of politics and foreign policy, as well as the Arab perspective, from my Arab family, from our Arab family friends. And the things that we saw in 2011 are the things that were discussed over dinner for the past 20, 30 years in every Arab Muslim family around the world. You know, these are the things that Arab men fought and debated about and criticized each other about, these changes that would never happen, these changes that they wanted but didn't really believe in because they were just so oppressed in terms of engagement and engaging in their politics and believing in their leaders. There was kind of just this apathy that had grown from disappointment and mistrust and disbelief. And it was definitely very inspiring to see the faces of my father, my uncles, our family friends, as these things were progressing in the Middle East. There's still a long way to go. I think that at the end of the day, the most important thing to remember is that there's many institutional changes and progresses, and there's a maturity that kind of has to happen in the Arab world that hasn't yet happened. So it will definitely take some time. This isn't something that's going to change within 1 year. 2011 isn't enough. And 2012 won't necessarily bring the change that the Arab and Muslim Americans and the Arabs around the world want to see. Yeah. But it's a good start.
If we look at, if we put this in the context of history, the last time we had this type of upheaval in the region, we have to look at the period of post-colonial Africa and post-colonial Middle East, where you had the entire Muslim world and the entire African continent throwing off, decades of European colonialism. And out of that came these rulers who were named Muhammad and who were named Ahmed, who were named Mustafa.
Who were supported by the countries that were colonizing.
Exactly. So the colonizer were replaced by neo-colonizers, and the Muslims were now being oppressed by their own people. So here, the Arab Spring makes a very interesting connection because it throws off the yoke of neocolonialism. And it's significant that we are living through this hour, living through these times, and we encourage Muslims to get engaged. We in the United States have to find a connection to the revolutions that are going on in those Muslim lands. And I think the connection is, if we look at the history of Malcolm X, one of the things that Malcolm did as he raised his level of awareness and consciousness toward the last 2 years of his life, he visited these places. He was in Egypt with Gamal Abdel Nasser and Ahmed Ben Bella in the areas of the Maghreb, and he became very familiar with the intricacies of these revolutions as they were throwing off colonialism. And he began to tie those strategies and tactics that were used and the overall goal and objectives of those movements into the movement of the suffering masses of people here in the United States. We Muslims are in that same cage today as we fight against oppression in this country. And we'll talk about those issues in the segments coming up, Islamophobia, the detention of Muslims, et cetera. So there's going to be some interesting things that grew out of it.
Definitely. Again, I just want to thank you all for listening to the Muslim Street. We're going to take a really quick break right now, but just stay tuned as we discuss the hottest topics of 2011 about the Muslim American community.